¿Qué tal, amigos? Welcome back to another edition of LatiNation Futbol Club. I am your host, Marcelino Ortiz, and I'm so excited because I got my full crew back today. Chiva Mayor, Nik Z, we are here, we are excited, and we are ready to talk about very important game that happened this week. MLS is on fire. Match day 8 is on the books. Conca Champions se puso bueno. Miami is out. We don't know the finalists, but we'll talk about it. And Champions Cup, Copa del Rey, Barcelona, it's on fire. And let's start in MLS because Vancouver has it all. First place in the West, best team in the power rankings, and eliminated Miami from the Conca Champions. Guys, are we seeing a dynasty on the making, or is just this a team that is in a really good moment? Chiva, talk to me.
I don't know if a dynasty in the making, but definitely a team that is surprising everybody. I mean everybody. You know, this team from Canada that even when we talk about who do we thought that were the first place we're gonna be, we never mentioned Vancouver. I don't remember none of us mentioning them. And man, they're doing really good. The coach is amazing. The team is playing as a team. And you know, eliminating Miami is a big thing. Now they're gonna finish strong and win the cup for the MLS.
It will be a very impressive accomplishment for Vancouver if they get this tournament. Nik, what are you taking away from the debacle that Miami faced yesterday? They have everything on their side. They have this impressive roster. They have some of the top youth players in the league, but yet they were not able to contain the attack and the effectiveness of Vancouver. What is your take?
Yeah, what did I take away? That's a really good question. I think for me, like first and foremost, is kind of this reminder that even legends like Messi, Suarez, they need a cohesive modern system. They need that energy, that energetic support around them, especially in high stakes matches, 2-leg knockout ties like this one. Whitecaps brought it. They did it. Miami looked slow. They looked predictable in possession. Once Vancouver shut down central lanes, denied Messi space between the lines, it was over for him. I mean, I just guess the biggest takeaway, Vancouver won the tactical, won the physical battles in this match, and it proved really effective for them. And so is this the beginning of a dynasty? I mean, look, it's got to start somewhere, and this is a pretty good start, right?
That is the case, Nik. And now let's talk about a little bit more about the league. LAFC is struggling, but Cincinnati is looking really good, winning their 5 last games. Chiba, who are the teams that right now are looking strong to make a run for the MLS Cup?
I mean, definitely you already mentioned Cincinnati and Vancouver, but let's not forget Portland. Portland, I mean, they came to Carson and they spanked Galaxy, even though I mean they haven't won any game. But I mean they're looking stronger in second place. I mean, and then Columbus, even though I said that Columbus was gonna struggle without Cucho Ramirez. I mean, man, they're killing it. They're in second place, and you know those are the teams that are definitely bringing it so far in the MLS. But let's not forget that MLS is kind of weird. And then after summer, that's when everybody gets more players, and then you see a different type of teams. Let's see if they can continue being on the top. Right now, you mentioned it, LAFC is struggling, Galaxy is struggling, but don't count them out because, man, there's still a lot of games in hand, and anything can happen.
Now let's talk about the Champions League, el torneo más bonito del mundo, and there were good games. Paris Saint-Germain got the edge as a visitor, then Barcelona saved the result as a local. Chiva, please tell me, do you think Barcelona will be able to contain Inter because they look really good? I know Nik's answer, but I want to hear you.
They struggled on the first half. When Barcelona came back, Barcelona could have scored 4 goals on them. It didn't happen. Second half, they go up again 3-2. They tie the game, and then they take this goal away. That is only because the nail of the player was a little bit longer than, than the Barcelona player. But man, you know, I see a very strong Inter de Milan. But on the other hand, Barcelona, man, they look on fire. Once they start playing, you know, they can win anything or they can beat anyone they want. But it's football, and I think Inter is gonna they're gonna be very strong at home, and I'm hoping that they advance to the final.
Oh my God! So we have a prediction, Chiva. You're going for Inter to get the advance to the final.
Yes.
Now, I'm not gonna say anything yet, Nik. I know where you stand. Your predictions have been on point about this semifinal. How do you see Barcelona being able to maybe turn this around in Italy?
Playing at San Siro against Inter, not going to be easy for them coming in with the 3-3. tie into the second leg. But I got to say, for me, Barcelona's vulnerability, particularly against Inzaghi's Milano, has been their biggest vulnerability has been in defending set pieces. Their high defensive line, I think, those areas could be a place where they could try to beat things up against Inter because Inter's kind of broken up their really masterclass organized flow and it's kind of thrown them off. And I think focusing on defense and how they can keep Inter away is probably their best chance at this point.
But you still with Inter.
I'm still with Inter 100%, especially going to the second leg against San Siro. They were absolutely beautiful in that second leg. Look, Yamal coming in and just scoring beautiful goals like that, like continuously throughout this championship, the Champions League, setting records as the youngest player to do so. I mean, he's doing amazing, and he kept them alive in that match. But Inter just looked so strong, and were able to stay strong throughout the entire match. And I think they're going to come with that same energy, but at home, and it's going to be hard to stop them if you're Barcelona.
And now let's talk about the other semifinal. Paris Saint-Germain went to England, the killer of British teams, and won over an Arsenal that seemed to be a little too comfortable, a little too easy on the ball. And Paris Saint-Germain seems to be working hard to eliminate the curse of not being able to win Champions League. Chiba, do you feel PSG is going to win a Champions League before Mbappe?
They're almost there, right? They went to England and they play Arsenal. Man, Arsenal look lost the first minutes. The pressure from PSG was just amazing. They should have scored 2-3 more goals. You know, that goal from Dembele at the minute 4. I mean, Arsenal looked scared. Looked like they didn't know what to do. And PSG, they play as a team. They play as a team that wants to win the Champions League, and it looks like it could happen, man. They could probably win it before Mbappe.
Nick, what is your prediction? Do you think PSG has the attack now that Dembele might not be available for selection to go and retain the victory at the Stade of Paris?
Yeah, that's a really good question. And I think they're going to be able to have that edge over Arsenal. Luis Enrique has kind of installed this discipline, this cohesive, beautiful tactical approach to the team that we're seeing in this kind of post-Mbappe PSG era. And I think they're looking absolutely amazing. I wouldn't count Arsenal out all the way, but I do think that they just have that edge over Arsenal. And also that psychological edge and the experience as well that we saw was very important, which Chiba touched on there in the first leg. And I think that's only going to continue for PSG here. They're just looking so good. And I know, Monse, you've been calling PSG the likely winner throughout this tournament. Are you still standing on that?
Oh my God, this is a tough one for me because as a journalist and analyst, I think PSG is the team to win this competition. But as an Arsenal fan, I really hope they bring out that intensity that was able to make them some of the top teams in the tournament. But PSG, I think it's their time. It's just one of those moments where you see a team bringing everything together and playing. I am still on the fence because this injury to Dembele might be a decision maker, but we won't know till next week. Now, before we go on a break, guys, I'm wearing this Puma shirt. They are playing this Sunday, the last stage of the playing against Monterrey con Sergio Ramos for the last ticket to the Liguilla. What are your predictions?
Let me tell you, man, Monterrey right now, it's a mess. Nobody wants to play Monterrey anymore. Canal is saying that he wants to leave. And Pumas is with a coach that has given them something to cheer for, you know, some hope. Even though they struggle with Juarez and they won in penalty kicks, I do see Pumas advancing and making, you know, the playoffs or La Liguilla and La Liga MX because yo creo que son los que tienen las más agallas, you know, to make it to the next round.
La Garra Puma estará fighting it all on Sunday against La Pandilla de Monterrey. Let's hope that the Pumitas are able to make it to the playoffs and make a long run. But we have to go on a break. We'll be right back. Thank you, Nick. Thank you, Chiba. And you at home, don't go anywhere because when we come back, NWSL with Camila Ortiz. And also, we're going to be talking about the Clásico Argentino y la Copa del Rey Clásico Español with Alex Crespo. So don't go anywhere. We're watching LatiNation Futbol Club.
Cosmo was supposed to fight Ciaran Clark, but he had to pull off injury. You get the call. You get to go in there. What was it like for you when you got that call, jumping in there and be part of this bantamweight tournament on short notice?
Terrifying, man. 2 weeks notice against a stud, but I've been preparing for my whole life for it, and I couldn't say no to the opportunity, and saw what happened. I came in there and kind of shocked the world. Not kind of, I did.
Only on SportsGrid.
Malaysia Fawali, who you guys know I am a huge fan, has decided to switch allegiances and stay in league. And now she's going to go play for Kim Mulkey. Her, Flau'jae Johnson in the backcourt. It's going to be interesting to watch. You wonder sometimes with roster construction, maybe too much is not too good.
Betting above the rim. Only on SportsGrid.
We know your other brother Marv did the Knicks forever, but you've done just about every team in the league. You did Ames, you did Dr. J games.
But after 45 years in this crazy business, people kept telling me, you got to write a book. So I did, and here it is.
Pharrell, Coast to Coast. Only on SportsGrid.
Two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results.
What?
How do you do this once?
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid.
With that, amigos, we are back here in LatiNation Football Club, and we are very excited because now it's time to talk about the National Women's Soccer League, and that's why we have Camila Ortiz here with us with her report like every week. Camila, thank you for being here with us.
What's up, everybody? I'm super excited to report back about this weekend's games. We saw some unexpected wins, so I'm super excited to go in and talk a little bit more about that.
So, I know that there's no more undefeated teams in the competition. Talk to me.
That's right. Finally, Kansas City Currents are no longer undefeated. In fact, they were defeated by North Carolina Courage. The game was 3-2. It was an incredible game. North Carolina, this is their first win of the season. So it's not too shabby to beat the number one place in the standings right now. I think they played with a lot of heart. I mean, not only is it difficult to beat this team, but to put 3 goals in the back of the net, that's pretty impressive to me.
That sounds like one of those victories that changed the direction of a team's season. Now, let's talk about some other teams that had activity this last week. Let's talk about San Diego Wave, that it seemed that they're resurging from a slow start. Talk to me, how did they do this weekend?
This weekend, San Diego had a definitive win against Chicago Stars. They won 3-0. I mean, San Diego started off to a rocky start, but this is their second win in a row. So I think they're getting some momentum again, getting more comfortable within the season. And unfortunately, Chicago Stars are still stuck at that last place right now. It feels like something's just not clicking with this team currently.
Now let's talk about a tie that was very, very interesting. We were talking about Bay City and Seattle. How did that game go down?
Seattle Reign and Bay FC ended up in a 1-1 tie this weekend. Both of these teams, you have to remember, they're in the middle of the bracket right now. They're both fighting. They want to get that leg up, and it showed up in this game, ended in a 1-1 tie, and it was an extremely back and forth game due to both of these teams really just wanting that win, but both of them couldn't get it at the end of the day.
And with that result, Camila, could you please tell me, how is the table, the standings looking right now?
Kansas City, Orlando, and Washington Pride. Those 3 teams seem to be the front leaders this season, kind of as expected. They both had lots of wins this weekend. In the middle, we have Bay FC and Seattle Reign. Both of these teams are tied with 8 points, currently in 8th and 9th place. And at the bottom, unfortunately, we have Chicago Stars, like we said, have only been able to acquire 1 win this season and 4 losses. So
now, Camila, I know that you want to talk about something that is very unique. There has been a lot of talk about the football draft this week and a lot of drama. The NWSL did something different. They decided to do away with the draft this season. Can you talk to us a little bit about what came to be after the league made this decision?
Yeah, I mean, this was a monumental decision for the league. This is a very un-American practice. Here, we're very used to every type of sport pulling people from the draft, but NWSL said no more. And I actually think that although a lot of people were a bit apprehensive about this, it's showing up the positive results of this in the game. Lots of these young players, they're playing incredibly. I mean, we have, for example, ACFC, we have the Thompson sisters. Both of these sisters were signed directly after high school and they're thriving. I mean, although we do have to see the long term results, but I think that this decision is giving players the autonomy to just make decisions for themselves, what's best for their personal and career choices.
The NWSL is trying to do this different, trying to make sure that these kids are landing on teams that do well for their style of play, that the fit is right and it's not just a grab from the losing team to get the best player coming to the league. What other standout players have come to the league through this mechanism?
For me, I think Maggie Graham is a standout young player in this league. She's playing for Houston Dash right now, and she scored in her first 2 appearances. So I think that's showing that you don't have to discount this new youth, that they can show up and they can play on the same level as some of these older veteran players.
Very interesting, Camila. Also, I know that there's some defensive players that came to the league through this mechanism and they're really standout players. Could you share a little bit with us?
Yeah, I mean, to me, the first 2 players that come to mind, Lily Real on Gotham. Gotham is a team that has been climbing up the rankings. They're currently 4th, and I think that her defensive contributions have been massive. I mean, sometimes these younger defensive players, they're not in the glitz and the glam of scoring goals, but they're still putting in so much effort to their teammates.
Indeed, Gotham has been one of the best teams this season. Now, Camila, what are some of the benefits of the league deciding to do away with the draft? We see the standout players, we see the flexibility of the players to choose, but what is at its core, what is the benefit of doing this?
Besides flexibility, like you said, I think to the core of this is just giving that power back to the players themselves so that they can have their say at the end of the day of where they want to go, where they want to play. And I think that this is showing up in the game. I mean, if these players are able to choose where they want to go, they're going to play better, they're going to train harder, and that's going to show up in the game.
Is there any downside to this? Is there any consequences that we are not looking right now, but that might come long term when you bring these players that might be heading to the best teams, the best player of each class going to the best teams? Does this is going to affect the parity of the league?
I mean, yeah, absolutely it could. This is an extremely new development we're seeing. We do not know the long-term results, and I think that's why there's some pushback on it. I mean, we just don't know what's going to happen. This could be an early positive reaction to this, but we don't know what's going to happen years down the line. And then another important thing to note about this is some people are saying, hey, what about the player development? What about young players getting caught up and, oh, I want to go pro right away? Some people might argue it might be better to hold back, play college, and develop further as a player before going pro.
That is a very, very important point, Camila. Development is one of the cornerstones of youth development. Now we have some teenagers that are able to fast track that process, but like you mentioned, staying in school might be of benefit to most of the players that need those 4 years to develop physically, develop muscle mass, develop skills and understanding of the game. Now, let's go back to the league. What are the exciting games that we should be looking at this weekend?
This weekend, we're going to have some great games. Make sure to tune in tonight. ACFC, Washington Spirit. I'm going to be attentively watching this game. I think both of these teams have had a lot of momentum. ACFC losing some, so will they gain it back again? Second of all, Houston and Louisville. Again, both of these teams kind of towards the bottom of the bracket. So who is going to show themselves to be the top dog? Who is going to take those 3 points? Again, tonight, Friday. Tune in.
Camila, thank you so much for your insight. Thank you so much for your report. And it's time for us to take a break, but don't go anywhere, because when we come back here in LatiNation Football Club, we are going to talk about Barcelona ganando la Copa del Rey. That's right. And also el clásico argentino, River versus Boca. Let's see what happened. Many of you know, River se llevó esta, but we'll be right back.
Did you know? SportsGrid sportsbooks tend to draw up tighter bet lines for events that get even more bettors, like championship games or major matchups. My tip? Try betting on less popular sports. You might have a better shot at beating those odds. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
They've won 7 in a row. They've been dominant at Citi Field. Lindor's been insane. Pete Alonso's been raking.
Griffin Canning, David Peterson, those guys have pitched really, really well. And when you put it together with that lineup, especially like you said, Lindor's been great. They've got the makings of something very special in Queens.
Pharrell, Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
Fans hate them. Like, kids go to Giant games and they're like, my father forces me to come, or my grandfather was a season ticket holder. Like, no one has fun. It's a miserable place to go.
The Giants' problem has always been over the last several years, and it's been the reason why Barkley never really got off, is the offensive line.
Sports Rage tonight, only on SportsGrid. The game is on. The stakes are high, but the action isn't just on the field.
He's rearranging that ring. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's in-game live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
Just a little flyer, couple of 15.5-point live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. That's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
¿Qué tal, amigos? We are back here in LatiNation Football Club, and now it's time to continue talking about European football, because this week was just amazing. We had so much high-quality soccer, and for that, we bring our own Alex Crespo. My friend, how are you?
Good, Marcelino. How are you? I'm happy to be back.
A lot of clásicos this weekend, and that's why we brought you to make this clásico report. So let's go to Spain. De Superclásico, el clásico más famoso del mundo. Barcelona contra el Real Madrid en un torneo, in a tournament that, my God, it is one of the classic ones in Spanish football, La Copa del Rey. What were your impressions of this game?
I think I just have one name to shout out with this whole game, Lamine Yamal. He is always proving that just because he's young doesn't mean he can't play good. He is making these defenders act like they're at the same level as him, and he's only been here in the pro leagues for a few years. 2 assists, one to Pedri and one to Ferran to tie it up. And I mean, with this game, we were able to see some amazing goals. This game was super back and forth between the two teams. El Clásico is never just El Clásico. And with the stakes of it being a Copa del Rey final, it's just making it even more tense than it usually is. I mean, we're going to be seeing this game again May 11th, and that's just for the league. But, Real Madrid, 3 points behind Barcelona, have a lot to prove. And especially with this game, they want to go at it even with more force.
I mean, Barcelona is hunting for the treble. And that game against Real Madrid will be critical for them to win if they want to win the La Liga. Alex, let's break down the game little by little. Of course, Yamal was the star of the show. He continues to be. We talked earlier in the show with Nik and Chiba about his performance in Champions League. 100 games, 17 years old. Do you think that there's other players that are making him shine when he's playing for Barcelona?
I mean, I think that he has a team that's really helping him out, with Rafinha being one of them. I mean, he has 50 games and 53 goal contributions in every tournament. So he's just been doing amazing, and that's obviously helping Lamine, because Lamine is being able to get that confidence with the team being such in good shape.
Self-confidence is something that Lamine Yamal does not have an issue with. Now let's talk about another clásico that happened this weekend. I know that you are proudly wearing the Boca jersey en las buenas y en las malas. Alex, they lost the Superclásico, a tough loss as visitors to one River Las Gallinas. Alex, What is your feeling? What is happening with Boca? Boca has been eliminated from Libertadores, have been eliminated from Copa Argentina, and now they lose almost at the end of the season when the teams have to be playing at their best, they lose the Super Clásico. Alex, tell me, what's happening with Boca Juniors?
Honestly, I'm not too worried. I think that their main priority this season has been the league, and it's showing because they are first in the table. River on the other side of their league, they're third right now, so they can't do much talking. I mean, I know they won the game. It happens. They had the home advantage, and there's not much you can do about it. If it was in the Bombonera, different story. That ese ambiente no se puede igualar.
There were consequences to this game. Fernando Gago, the coach, has been dismissed. He's no longer Boca Juniors coach. Do you think this is going to affect Boca Juniors as they go into the playoffs?
I mean, probably. I think that this could have a negative effect on them just because they've been so used to him with this whole season. But maybe, the owners of Roman Riquelme might have a different view on it. He might be wanting them to be more, not just league focused, but tournament focused as well. Because, obviously, as you said, being knocked out of these two big tournaments in Argentina and in Copa Libertadores, it's no joke. So they need to be fixing their focus onto the bigger tournaments, and not just that, but fixing the dynamic of the team to have that more consistent energy and playing all these games.
Bueno, Alex, quien a hierro mata, a hierro termina. The tenure of Fernando Gago was always stained by the way that he left Chivas, a project that he was building and having great results, and he went in the back door without being truly honest about the situation. He left to go with Boca Juniors, and it didn't work out for him. Let's see if Boca Juniors is able to continue this momentum and win another domestic title. Alex, thank you so much for your insight, and I'll see you next week. In the meantime, we have to say goodbye. This is all the time that we got this week here in LatiNation Football Club. But you, the MVP of our club at home, thank you for choosing to spend this time with us, and we'll be seeing you next week. We'll have more del deporte más bonito del mundo, el fútbol. Yo soy Marcelino Ortiz, and I'll see you next week.
Your college performance does not relate to the National Football League. It never does.
They played side by side with each other, and he wasn't as good as Quinn Ewers. That's an issue. That's a major issue.
It wasn't that it wasn't as good as Quinn Ewers.
Ever got to Texas.
It wasn't that it wasn't as good as Quinn Ewers. It was Quinn Ewers' program, which Steve Sarkisian made very clear the entirety of the time that Arch Manning was in Austin. So for you to argue that because Ewers is a 7th-round pick, Arch Manning is not that good and not deserving of being first overall is asinine. It is wrong. It is incorrect.
He's going to be number 1 overall. My whole thing was I'm buying
you're doing your thing now where you double down on a take that is incorrect.
The best quarterback prospect to ever hit college football can't play.
He's
over
not
a 7th-round
There were
pick
2
who didn't even
perfectly
play
rated
good.
quarterback recruits in the history of the sport.
Quinn Ewers couldn't even play at Ohio State. He couldn't even play at Ohio State.
Quinn Ewers, go look it up.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune in to Game Time Decisions weekdays on SportsGrid.